Hey guys, so if you're wondering why I don't have any makeup on, it is because I am recovering from a sty in my left eye. This time I caught it very quickly, so it did not fully develop, but just in case, I am not going to be wearing makeup for the next week or two, depending on how I feel. Recently, I noticed someone commented that my skin was getting better, and when I replied, I said that it was due to my workout routine. It was then that I realized that I actually have not talked very much about my workout routine at all verbally in a video to you guys, so I thought I would take some time today to talk about it. When I was growing up, I didn't particularly think that working out was a really important part of my life because I'm a musician, I'm an artist. I didn't think that keeping my body in shape would have anything to do with what I was interested in. So I didn't pay it much mind at all. Up until grade 11, so basically up until I was 16 years old, pretty much the only regular workout I would get was from PE, or physical education, or phys ed, depending on where you live. Other than that, it was really only a few hiking trips with my family, but starting in grade 11, I did not have to take PE anymore, and that was when I completely stopped working out. Fast forward all the way until my master's, so this is about 6 or 7 years later, I finally got the chance to start living alone. All through my bachelor's, I was living with my parents because that was the cheaper thing for us to do. We actually could not afford to have me live on campus. One of the key reasons why I went to the University of British Columbia was because my family lived in the Vancouver area. So of course, what happens is that mom and dad end up cooking, and they encouraged me to just focus on studying. When it came time for my master's, I was in San Francisco. My parents actually wanted to move back with me, and so that's what they did. They did miss the Bay Area, but my dad ended up not being able to really secure a stable job. So I encouraged them to go back to Vancouver, and that is why I was left alone in San Francisco. So when you're left alone to your own devices, you start to figure out that eating out is very expensive. So I ended up doing that really typical thing that you do as a student, where you just spend one day cooking the heck out of everything, and you have a huge pot of stuff that will last you throughout the entire week. When I did this, I actually pre-portioned all of my meals so that I could just grab 1 or 2 boxes of food in the morning with me when I was rushing off to school. Basically just out of convenience, and because I am just too cheap to go out all the time, I ended up eating portioned meals, and that actually made me lose weight accidentally. Usually when I eat with my family, we eat family style, so we put all the food in the middle, and then you just have like your bowl of rice, and then you just kind of pick from the middle and eat with your rice. So very traditional Chinese family style of eating. When you eat like that, you don't actually know how much you consume. So if you are in a family that eats like this, you may have probably run into those family situations where people accuse you of not eating much at all if you eat really fast, or they accuse you of eating a lot if you eat really slow. It's really hard for everyone to really figure out how much you're eating, and it's hard for yourself to figure out how much you're eating. Apparently, I was eating a lot because when I ate these portioned meals, I dropped weight like crazy. Now, we've come to a point now where I've lost the weight accidentally, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. But the only not cool thing, and I'm gonna sound extremely vain when I say this, but I lost my butt. I had the flattest butt in the world. It was not there. So I'm, thinking to myself, oh crap, now I realize that my butt was primarily fat. I look weak and limp and devoid of life. I also went down a bra size, so both the top and the bottom were shrinking. It was nice to lose the weight, but it was not nice to lose the shape. My body type is already pretty square. I don't really have much of an hourglass shape to begin with, and then to lose even more from my chest and my butt was pretty depressing. I was like, okay, so do I just eat more and gain the weight back so that I get my boobs and my butt back? Or do I find another way? I decided to find another way. I went online to try and find some butt exercises, and that's how I found Blogilates. One thing led to another, and I ended up not only doing her butt exercises, but I added some arm stuff, some leg stuff, and then some core stuff. It's the way she talks. She's just so down to earth, relatable, funny, and in every single one of her videos, she always points you to a different video. And I'm like, oh, well, let me try this video. Basically went down the rabbit hole of Blogilates. The first 2 weeks were really awful. I felt like I was going to throw up. Like, that's how crazy these exercises were to me. And they're not actually that crazy. It's just that I was so incredibly weak. Like, you have to keep in mind, I had not worked out for an extensive period of time longer than 5 minutes for 6 to 7 years at that point. But I persisted because I just wanted at least some shape back to my butt. But then a couple of other really interesting side effects started happening. I noticed that my physical endurance was just generally better. And that actually translated to how long I could practice at a time, way longer than before. And I was like, oh, this is really weird. And I found that by the time I got to my master's graduation recital, I did not actually have to train myself up to be able to play 1 hour of flute music at a time without dropping dead halfway through. I had to do that for my bachelor's graduation recital. 2 weeks before the recital, I made myself play through all of my music. No matter how badly it went, I had to keep going. And then every day up until the recital, I did the same thing. So that by the time I got to the recital, I knew where my pitfalls were, I knew where I might lose focus, and I also was just building up my endurance to get through the recital. So by the time I got to the actual recital, I could get through the whole program without dropping dead. I found that I did not actually have to do that for my master's graduation recital, because the first day that I went through my recital program, I expected that I would have to do this training process. By the time I got to the end, I was like, oh, I feel fine. I think it's because by that point, I had built up my workout routine to an hour a day of pop Pilates 7 days a week. I can't actually do that now. I might explain in a different video why that is. My physical endurance just got so much better, and it crazily affected just how much energy I had to put into my practice sessions, my rehearsals, and my performances. The other huge thing I noticed was that my flute tone got better. It was richer, fuller, and it even projected more. And it was the projection part that really got me, because I was like, what is going on here? Like, because I had always been lectured that I wasn't projecting enough. You're not projecting enough. You need to push more. You need to support more. But I actually found out that I had a misconception of what support is. My teachers had always told me to push, and I thought that pushing from your abs meant that you literally push everything outward like this. You know how you can push it out so that it looks like you have a big tummy? After I started doing core exercises with Blogilates, I discovered that maybe support is just engaging your core, which makes a whole lot of sense, because if you engage your core, you can actually feel it pushing the air out for you. You can actually kind of feel it. You feel like even when you speak, your speaking voice is more supported. When I say engaging your core, it just means to flex your ab muscles. Blogilates always says to pull your belly button in. When you pull your belly button in, you end up flexing your ab muscles. And that's what suddenly clicked in my head when I started working out. I was like, wait a second. Maybe this is support. So I did a couple of practice sessions where I just experimented with not engaging my core and engaging my core. And when I engaged my core, my sound was just like 100 times better. I sounded like a completely different player. You can try it right now. Try even just speaking or singing or playing your flute or playing your wind or brass instrument, whatever it is you play. Play once without engaging your core, and then play once engaging your core. and you will really feel the difference. Everything feels supported. Like, now I know why people use that word, even though that word is like the most vague word ever to describe how this feels. Blogilates made my tone better. Blogilates has pretty much revamped my flute playing completely, and it was a complete accident. I did not work out in order to be a better musician. In fact, I thought that musicians and artists, if we care so much about how our body looks and everything, that it would be so vain of us, superficial. But we're not superficial people. We are profound people who like express our deepest emotions and thoughts. I discovered that it is actually very important to take care of your body. And part of taking care of your body is to work out regularly. And that actually translates very directly into how you function as a musician and as an artist. I hope if you guys had the same misconceptions that I did, that at least you will reconsider your thoughts about working out and keeping yourself healthy. It really has made my life a lot better, and I would love nothing more than if sharing my experience can make your life better too. So if you guys have any similar thoughts or questions or stories about what I just talked about today, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to read it, and if you guys can talk to each other too and encourage each other, that'd be amazing. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and hit subscribe for new videos every Saturday. My last video is over there, and if you want to catch me during the week, my social media networks are down there. But otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Bye. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me blah. Oh my gosh, I'm talking too fast. Blah, blah, blah. At this point, excuse me, I'm burping.